Hey guys, Rapid Roo here, back with another Starcraft Broodwar Remastered cast, and today we have another Feb 2023 ladder game between Sacsri, who is the blue Zerg, and his opponent is the red Protoss, the very well known and very strong Stork. We are on Neo Silver today, and I'm really looking forward to bringing a PvZ between these two top Korean pros. This is the list of players we will be featuring over the next 6 months or so. A couple of requests have already come through. People seem to really like Somar, Queen. A lot of the Zerg players are very popular. Some Snow games are around the corner. I'm pretty sure Snow will also be a popular choice. But let me know in the comments. I mean, a lot of you have already. Let me know in the comments who you'd like to see more of, and I will try and prioritize the releasing and or recording of their games. Okay, so standard forward pylon from our Protoss. So far the Overlord is coming in, so we'll have to see. Probably just going to be an overpool open from Sacsri. So it's Saturday morning again, and it is a slightly more mild version of Hungover Rabbit that we have today. So I did once again have a bit of a party on Friday, but my commitment to bringing the Brood War is just unrelenting, man. Alright, so we're actually going to go hatch first. This is always very interesting. The Protoss tends to counter the hatch first with either a Nexus first or a cannon rush. That's a forge, so we could get a cannon rush. I don't know, but I am going to be far more vigilant with the possibility of something like this, because in the past I've just gone, oh well, he's probably just going to save up the money and do a Nexus first and no big deal. But now I'm not so sure. So the probe does see that it's hatch first, does see now that the pool has just started. His forge has been cancelled. So Stork is gone. I'm not cannon rushing anybody. I'm just going to go Nexus and then probably build my forge. So let's see. We'll get to 150. No, he doesn't do his forge yet. He's actually done his in-base pylon first. And now he'll probably get his forge. So just prioritizing his pro production in the meantime. I just want to see if this is going to be a gate or a forge. I'm super curious. It's a forge. Okay, so just basically tweaking the build order based on the scouting information he found. Not trying to do anything crazy with the cannon rush. So the macro power this will afford Sacsri, I think, could be quite terrifying. Sacsri is a great player. Somebody that I absolutely love watching. Is a very creative, very aggressive Zerg player, very macro-centric. You can see a sub 3 minute third hatch here. And Stork has just been an institution of the Protoss race and the game for so long. Many people have said his form has dipped a bit. You know, who am I to say whether that's true or not? I have watched a few of his games, and he has been taking a few losses. But is certainly an excellent player and still very much a force to be reckoned with. So the gate's coming down, the gas is coming down. I expect we'll see a core quite soon. We've got our safety cannon in case we need it. Just a couple of lings out on the map now. Be interested to see if he's going lair. Based on the build he's done, it's really so nicely teed up for a Hydra bust. You've got the hatch first. You've got a sub 3 minute third hatch. You've got so much lava. You've got about 15 drones. I think the number you need for the 3 hatch bust is about what's it, 9 plus 7 plus 3, so that's 16, 19. So 19 drones is more or less the number. So let's keep an eye on that drone count when we get there. We start to see Hydralists at about 5 minutes and 25 seconds coming down to the natural of the Protoss, then we know exactly what's up. Okay, so what are we doing here? We don't have +1 going, so we're just getting our cybernetics core finishing now. Will we see a Stargate drop as soon as the money is available? The answer to that question is yes. Okay, so very, very standard build so far from Stork. Got the Zealot holding the wall. Got another pylon coming in here. It's always a nice place to pop technical buildings here, like an observatory and a robo. And it's always good to have an additional pylon in the event that you need to deepen your cannon line, which, based on the build that I think Sacsri is going for, is probably going to be very necessary. Although, yeah, there we go. The Hydralist movement is already being evolved. The den is parked here nicely behind the extractor. The hatches are going nicely. We do have 23 drones as opposed to 19, but I don't think it's really a fundamental change in the idea here. It is going to be a Hydra press. the drone production has stopped. You can see the Hydra production is messing up. So the question will be, can Stork hold this Hydra bust? Simple as that. He is adding a second cannon now. He's going to need a fair few more cannons. Do we have a Citadel coming in? Yeah, we can see it starts now. So Hawk seems to know what's up. He's going to need... Did I say Hawk? Stork. Stork seems to know what's up. He's going to need his Zealot legs. He's going to try and need to prioritize Storm. Of course, he's going to come out here. Please don't attack this Overlord. You need confirmation on the number of Hydras that are coming your way. It's 5 minutes and 30 seconds. This is a key timing, Stork. Don't waste your time on this Overlord. Okay, so the Zealots have come out. I think that's a bit of a mistake because now they're getting stuck and they're taking a lot of damage here. There are only 2 cannons up. He's pushing in here with the Lings on the front, and the Hydras are going to keep reinforcing from the backside. A +1 upgrade has started, but that is not even a fraction of the way done. We can see it's not even halfway at this stage. So the Corsairs, he's probably overmade Corsairs, arguably. He doesn't really need Corsairs. He needs cannons. He's going to have to be able to hold this bust. Does get an Overlord, which I guess is a little bit annoying. The advantage from having the Corsairs out is it does mean that Sacsri cannot fully commit to sending all his Overlords down. Reason being, he would lose far too many Overlords, and so he's got to keep some Hydras back to protect them. So staging here at the moment, 4 cannons is going to be 3 cannons is going to become 5 cannons very soon. That is another cannon as well, so it's going to become 6. You can see the benefit of this additional pylon that I was saying earlier here, giving him the ability to power a cannon slightly deeper. His gateway is going to go down because this Hydra is in range and nothing else can get it. As I said, these Corsairs are annoying. He does need to keep some Hydras back. Loses another Overlord. Has to send even more Hydras back to deal with these Corsairs. This counter harassment with the Corsairs has really bought Stork tons of time and almost put to bed the opportunity here for Sacsri to do any kind of burst. Yes, he's going to lose the gateway. He doesn't care. He's building 4 more in his main. He's got plenty of cannons to hold the line. In fact, there's no longer an Overlord supporting here, so these DTs are going to be able to chase away this. And this has gone very, very well for Stork indeed. I think Sacsri has very quickly realized that he's not going to gain much more from that initial pressure. He's thrown up a 4th hatch here. He's probably going to start droning up. Needs an Overlord pretty soon. Have the Corsairs all died is the question. There seems to be 1 left. I don't see any more Corsairs in the production tab. It just seems to be a Templar tech tree that Stork's going to be using now. So I think the DT also died. He's going to get another Overlord. That is really going to be tilting. These Hydras are not going to be here in time. So Sacsri loses what I think must be his 4th. It doesn't. It's 1 hit. It's 1 hit. Oh, he does get it. Okay. And he loses the Corsair. I think that's going to be the end of the Corsair harassment. Some drones have come here. Why are your drones here? I think this is a miss, really. Unless his plan is to do something really strange. So no mineral line cannons at this stage, so not fearing any sort of tech switch into Spire or Mutas. It would be a very, very devastating switch if he does do that. He's killing off some of these eggs now for pathing purposes. I'm pretty sure we'll get some observers and dragoons, robo, etc. coming in now. Here's a robo here. We'll get an observatory. We are getting singularity charge. We are busy with double upgrades from our forge. So I reckon we're just going to see your standard goons, zealots, high Templar composition. Moving out onto the map and pressuring the Zerg. So the position in the game, I reckon Protoss probably has a bit of an edge, but Sacsri is an incredibly good player. So it will really depend on the quality of the trades and the expansion timing that our Protoss chooses to take. Noticing that he doesn't really have much by way of Hydras. He's just moving out with +1 speed zealots, who are tanky boys. Here they come, is confirming they are +1. And Stork decides, well, I don't think your lurkers are quite ready yet. And as we can see, the lurker aspect is still being researched. So sees a narrow window here to pre-pressure the space, but this is going to be too many Hydras. Does pick off 1, but decides to hightail out of there. I think he may be just posturing with the Zealots. Just wanted to try and see what sort of unit comp he's going with. Meanwhile, a little bit of a split off of the Zealots, so distracted the main group of Hydras so he can get into the main here, or the natural. Does break through the wall. Picks off a drone or 2, but the reinforcing Hydras are going to clean this up. I think these guys are going to be able to get into the main and see the lair, but also scout that there's no Spire. If I'm Protoss, that's actually a nice piece of intel to have. if I saw a Spire at this stage of the game, I would certainly need to, at the very least, build a cannon or two here. So the Zealots have mostly been cleaned up. And I think Stork does maybe open himself up for a little bit of a counter-attack. So did get a drone or two from that. But the Hydras ultimately have tidied it up. In fact, I think if my corner here, there is one Zealot here. Just sort of chilling in the corner. And they've just let him live. Hello? He's camping under the tree. He's dead. Okay, so that was fun. Okay. We have goons. We have an observer. We have High Templar. So we are very, very ready for a lurker tech switch. I don't see any lurker. Okay, so I see 2 lurkers being morphed in now, 7 overlords. We are getting drops for our overlords. Interesting. Okay, so we're upgrading our Hydras, and we are researching drops. I haven't seen if the overlords have speed as of yet. Yes, they do. We see one moving here. That's definitely got speed. So he's got speed. He's researching drops. So this is very, very interesting. I expect some sort of drop attempt from Sacsri in the planning. This map is perfect for it. You fly, especially if nobody has this base, you fly in straight over here, you drop in the main, and Protoss has a very tough time moving all of its army through the narrow chokes here to come back past all its gateways, also narrow chokes, to come and reinforce. This is no cannons here, so he has no first line of defense, so that could be really painful. Here we see the drop on the one side, here we see the Hydras on the other. I've almost called this before it's happened. Staging here, I don't know how many units are in these overlords as of yet. We'll just double check. Doesn't seem to be any in that one, or that one, because the drops haven't, because the researching hasn't yet finished. Here it is. Okay. So let's keep an eye on that. He is buying himself some time here and moving out onto the map with his units, which means this could be catastrophic for Stork, because his army is just going to be so horribly out of position that it could just be a base race. Does Sacsri, though, have enough to hold this advance from the Protoss? That's going to be the question. So he does have the observer in play here, but as we can see here comes the drop. So what does he drop in? We're going to keep an eye on where he drops and how much he drops. How quick is the probe pull from Stork? It doesn't look very quick at all. There's a lurker on the probe line. Off they go. Tons and tons of Hydras have gotten into the mineral line here. He's lost himself 8 probes before he's done the evacuation. He's going to lose a lot of tech. Meanwhile, the push on the base here is looking pretty strong. A lot of good storms here, but suddenly it's 120 versus 96. It's going to become a little bit of a base trading scenario. But unfortunately, Stork is going to lose all of his ability to reinforce. His main nexus is going to go down. Sacsri is going to lose both these hatches, though. The question is, does Protoss have enough to pretty much break the rest of Zerg just with this army that's out on the map? He is also expanding behind this. So this is going to do catastrophic damage. He's going to have to rebuild all his tech. Bit difficult to call how this is going to go. So that has fallen. Now he's approaching the natural. Nice storm on those Hydras. Another decent storm pretty much on the drone line. Whiffs it slightly, but seems to have storms for days here. Dragoons against Sunkens are usually a very, very good solution. And he does have a couple of observers flanking this army, so the lurkers are not nearly as effective as what he would ideally like. Meanwhile, he has brought a pool of zealots back here and probably has an ops as well to pick up the remaining Hydras. And I think the lurker has also been detected, so he's going to clean up what little units he has here, and I think Stork's going to hold on. So it was a nice idea in terms of the drop, but unfortunately it didn't do enough damage. He's going to be able to probably put back his nexus here, and so that's just too much damage for Sacsri to observe, and Stork takes this one down. But they played each other again on the same day, so let's see what happened in the next game. So that's the beautiful thing about having these games in chronological order. You can get a little bit of a feel for what was happening on the specific day. So these two players then sort of went go next. And after Stork took that game down, they played again. And this time they are on Nemesis. A very, very weird ladder map. I can't say I'm a huge fan of it, but it is in the ladder pool. It is in a lot of the competitions pools. So you know what? It is what it is. So let's see what adjustments these guys made, having literally played each other a few, it's sometimes hours, it's sometimes minutes, it sort of all depends. But based on the numbering on the replays, it looks like this is probably a few minutes after the initial game. So it kind of turns into a little bit of a series, which is always fun. So let's see what we get this time. So a forward pylon as expected. Not going to go scout though, so that's interesting. Maybe makes me think this might be a gateway. Not looking to do an initial expansion, we'll have to see. So let's recap what happened in game 1. Sacsri went hatch first, did a basically a 3-hatch push that was beautifully shut down, mainly with counter harassment from Corsairs from Stork. Sacsri then tried a lurker drop. At the same time, Stork was pressing Sacsri's 4th base, and he was able to break that and his natural and clean up the drop harassment, which only really lost Stork his nexus, his main nexus, and a few other buildings, but he was able to clean up those units and have still far too many units out on the field. So the Zerg Sacsri tapped out in game 1. So that's obviously going to be fresh in both players' minds. We immediately see an adjustment in strategy from Stork in this game. He is going to go gateway first, and Sacsri, on the other hand, is not making any adjustments. He is sticking with his hatchery first strategy. So obviously very confident in that build against Protoss. I think that's cool. I quite enjoy that. He's also going to scout the right way immediately, although these two give each other a kiss before they get there. So Stork doesn't know where Sacsri is, but Sacsri's about to find out. Okay, and it's a gateway first. So off goes the Zealot. Will he get him? He needs one more shot. He needs one more shot. I think they're going to chase each other. He's going to have a pretty good idea of where to go now, because here comes his probe. So he's found him. Sees, okay, so it's hatch first. So there is certainly some opportunity for me to harass, because your pool is still quite a way before it's done. There's going to be quite a bit of time before there are lings out. So we could see possibly 2, maybe even 3 Zealots before Stork takes a Nexus, or alternatively, he may just stick with a 2. No, he's building a 3rd. So he's going 3 Nexus expand, 3 Zealot expand. And then we'll see what he does from there. So there's going to be a lot of Zealot pressure here from Stork. And 3 sets of lings, though, have popped. So the important thing here for the Protoss is to buy time. This is a very, very difficult and advanced style to play. You deny mining time. You possibly pick off a few drones. But the problem is, if you lose too many Zealots, then the Zerg is just able to sometimes move across the map and kill you. Because behind this, as a Protoss, you tend to not have much. At the moment, he's building a Nexus, and you can see he's adding another Zealot. Here comes the Zealot to help this one. So it's really about micro and about buying as much time as you can. So Sacsri's Lings have cleaned up the first Zealot pretty easily, and already this one. I really won't be surprised to see if Stork turns the 3rd Zealot around. In fact, if he doesn't, I'm going to be very, very concerned. So he doesn't turn the Zealot around. I don't know where he's going to try and take a fight here, because there's plenty of lings. Look at this. This is far too many lings for this Zealot to do anything with. So if anything, this is just an attempt to buy time to get his cannon up. We'll have to see what happens once the Zealot dies. Where does... Okay, now this Zealot from Stork is going... I don't even know where, but what is at home? You've got one Zealot, a pylon, sorry, a forge, a probe. Get your cannon up. Cannon! Cannon! Okay, so the cannon is up. So the cannon should be able to hold the line. I think he's posturing up and down with the Zealot just to maybe go and harass the space. That should also buy him some time. I hear them breaking something so they can get through. Where is this happening? I hear it, but I cannot see it. One of the many tilting factors about this lovely map. Okay, so our cannon is almost there. And we are pulling back with our lings, because that damn sneaky Zealot, the one that we were like, where's he going? Where's he going? He's just going to sneak in to buy even more time. I think this has really been pretty well done by Stork. The other thing he gets is he sees it's a lair build, so doesn't have to worry now about Hydras, doesn't need to build more than one cannon. He's literally just got to deal with lings. And then if he can keep his Zealot alive, which I don't think he's going to be able to, he could potentially spot the Spire timing, which we will see now if it is going to be a Spire once the lair has completed. There it is. Okay, so we have a Spire. Are we going to see some mutas in a PvZ? I'm always a fan of it. It tests the skill and the micro of both players intensely. More Zealots! It is just non-stop Zealots from Stork here. He's got one cannon. He's got his bases going. What has he got behind this in terms of tech? That must be a Stargate. Yes, it is. So he's just going with his Stargate build. And again, sending some more Zealots across the map. Sacsri surely has got enough lings to deal with this, although I don't see very many. Okay, so there's a fight from both angles, though. The drone also being a little bit of a pain. Great micro from both players. always getting this around, not just fighting from the one angle, although the Zealots I think are probably going to prevail here, although both of them are pretty red, so I'm wrong. The Ling macro from Sacsri is masterfully strong. I've got to ask if Stork has just traded out far too many Zealots for far too little value at this stage of the game. The Mutas are going to be inbound really soon. We can see the Spire finishing. We can hear Lings trying to knock things down. Where, though, is my question. Here we go. So we're knocking down eggs to try and clear the pathway and make it easier to get around. Guess what? More Zealots! This game. It is like the game of the crazy Zealots. What is even happening? Okay, so the Corsair does come out and kind of discovers, hey, so this is what's happening. Cool. And the Templar Archives is coming in. He's going to be able to take down that Overlord, but if he's not careful, a couple of Scourge are going to fly straight into his face really soon. Where are you, Scourge? Hello? There you are. Get him! Run! Now the Corsair is going to have to run home. Hey, guess what, guys? More Zealots! This is so many Zealots. Oh no, he's surrounding him. And that's more dead Zealots. He's just, come on, he's traded too many Zealots, man. The Corsair does get away. Can you believe it? And guess what? Another Zealot! So much of Zealot, it's not even funny. If I'm Sacsri and I see this, I just snap make Mutas. But he seems to be going Hydras, so that's fine. Trying to break through this wall of friggin' eggs. These seem to be very hard to break, although he does finally get through there, so it is a little bit easier to maneuver. So what are we going to get? We're going to get 10 Hydras. What does he have to repel 10 Hydras? He has a cannon, he has +1, and he has 2 Zealots. I am very fearful for the survival of our Zerg here. I don't know how... Oh, excuse me, the survival of our Protoss here. I don't know how he backs the Zerg away when he marches his Hydras across the map. He's killed the remaining eggs that obstruct him from moving his forces across to take on this natural. And that's what we can expect. He has an Archon too. He doesn't even have Storm. An Archon against a Hydra push is going to be somewhat worthless. Sending some Overlords with this, probably in the event that he does have some DTs on board. Guess what? Stork's moving out with more Zealots. Oh no, he's got so many Lings, Hydras. Okay, so now he's like, oh crap. Suddenly Zerg's built some crap and I'm in a load of trouble. Run. Okay, so the Archons are pretty good against the Lings, but the Lings have a bit of a surround on the Archon and he disappears. We have 4 Corsairs, but what the hell is going to stop us at what's coming at the front door? Yes, you're going to kill some Overlords. Good for you. Where's your DT? Your DT's your only way out of here. Heaps and heaps of cannons. All your cannons are warping in. Nothing's complete. Oh, no. Okay, so Stork, I think, has totally misplayed this game. Threw way too many Zealots away. Didn't really track the build. The Overlords come in here for good measure, just in case it's a DT. So, Sacsri levels it up in our sneaky best of 3. Let's see what happens in the deciding game. Alright, we are back on Silphid for the deciders. So they played this on the ladder all on the same day. It's 1 each, so let's see what, if any, adjustments we get from the same 2 players on the same map. So spawning in the top sort of middle position is Sacsri. He is in red this time, and he is playing against Stork, who has moved into the blue colors. And he has spawned now in the bottom left as opposed to the bottom right that he did in game 1. So these are a treat, in my opinion, when you can find 2 top players who have played each other a number of times on the same day. What adjustments do they make to their build? How do they play it out? And who, on the balance of things, proves to be the better player? Obviously, time will tell. So Stork once again doing a forward pylon. I'm going to be very curious to see if he goes Forge first or if he goes Gateway first. Gateway first did not seem to serve him well at all in game 2. Oh, we have a change. We have a change from Sacsri. We have a 9 pool. I'm getting excited. I love watching how these players adjust and just do a different build order for no apparent reason. It's super exciting. I'm really pumped up to see now what's going to happen. So 9 pool looks like an extractor trick. All right, so he's going to go get himself an extra drone and then get his Overlord. Okay, so Not afraid. Not afraid is our Stork. He is going gateway first. If you are Zerg, then 9 pool, you want a gateway opening. It is the one where you can test your micro and you can really harass and get under the nose of your Protoss opponent. So Sacsri has the opening from Stork that he ideally would have wanted based on the build choice that he went for. So he's going to see, okay, so this is definitely a 9 pool. Your pool is almost done. Your Overlord's only popping now. Here come a couple of lings. What's coming out of these eggs? I need to know. I need to know. Behind this, he's building a zealot, which I'm pretty sure he's just going to keep at home. He's going to need 1 or 2 zealots and a way to repel the incoming lings. Is he going to try and block this hatchery? Yes. Oh, how does he not get the block there? That was so... Oh, man, that's super tilting. Anyway, so he sees the lings coming, so he knows exactly what to expect. He's going to stay behind with his probe, because he wants to know if he's making lings behind this as well, or if it's going to be drones. So he's making a drone and another set of lings. He's got himself another pylon over here. So just wants to make sure that this one pylon being killed doesn't unpower his gateway. So that makes sense. Has the probe, has 1 zealot. A second zealot is about to pop. There's a lot of angles that the lings can come in from. Oh man, this is micro testing. This is serious micro testing. Okay, so you can see posturing back and forth with the lings. So this is not a full commitment from Sacsri. You can see he's building 2 hatches behind this. Is stopped making lings. He's just going to make drones. So he's going to use his multitasking to tax the multitasking of Stork the whole time, and to make sure, if he can, get Stork to overmake units and not macro. It looks like he's going to get in the front door, although the probe block is good. The zealot, but the lings are in the front door. This is exactly why you love the gateway opening if you've got 9 pool as Zerg, because now you can get some nice probe kills here. So here we go. Going to harass and put a lot of pressure on here. More lings have been made behind this. I think noticing that he's getting the penetration, it does make sense. The Nexus is coming up. Stork, because he's multitasking, he's being so taxed, has not yet thrown down his forge, which he really wants to do to wall this off here. Okay, so meanwhile, the lings are still in. They are still getting some kills. Only 18 probes. Stork has certainly lost a probe or 2. Loses another one there. Potentially going to lose another one. Zealots are slow, man. Infuriatingly slow. So the forge does finally come into wall. He should be able to stabilize here. There's only 3 lings left. But 3 lings is plenty when they're in the hands of an elite Zerg like Sacsri. So running up and down. Stork is seriously getting tired of this. Only got 19 workers, and with 15 drones behind this, the advantage that this gives Sacsri in terms of the macro picture is just so big. It's so hard to play out of this as Protoss, and even if you could just get over the tilt factor, you've still then got to try and play yourself out of this situation. So the probe that's holding the line gets picked off. No, he doesn't. Beautifully done by the zealots. I'm hoping that he throws down his cannon. I don't even know where he would sim it. Probably here. It might be hard to get out of this a little bit later, but you know what, such is life. It's better to survive than anything else. Interesting choice here from Stork, and I think that's good game instinct. Picking up that... he's got even more zealots in here that I missed. So once he was able to see off the initial harassment, has sent his zealots across the map, forcing Sacsri to keep making lings. So that's a way that you can equalize the econ position. It's not just sit back and let Zerg drone all the time. So he did send a couple of zealots in initially, which I missed. I did see the second wave of zealots coming now. Suddenly it puts Sacsri under pressure to make a lot of lings. He's gone 3 hatches pretty fast. He's gone Blair pretty fast. He's only got lings that can help him here. He doesn't have hydras or the support of hydras. I won't be surprised to see a spire coming up here behind this. And potentially some muta harassment, or just giving him more choices. His 3rd hatch is already established. He's got himself 21 workers. Probably just going to sit here and get a good spot on the tech tree of our Zerg. I don't know about the sighting there, but he might just be able to spot the spire. Although, at this level, I think you kind of know if the Zerg has gone for a lair this quickly, it is going to be a spire and then a transition into 6-hatch Hydra in all likelihood, with the spire mainly there for the purposes of Scourge. Would have seen there's no second gas, so can anticipate that it isn't likely a muta build. So... valuable intel, good counter. I think that gave Stork some time. And time when you face this painful 9 pool harassment is very important. It does look like he's doing the Corsair Zealot rush build, where he's getting +1 for his Corsairs. I don't see a Corsair in production as of yet, because I think unfortunately he got himself supply blocked. Another Zealot is coming here, so I think Stork's Zealot play has been really good. He absorbed the initial pressure really nicely, picked himself up a drone kill there. Once again, making Sacsri run around from pillar to post with his slings, keeping constant pressure. And now he's also got a scout off on where the third base is. So his game sense and his understanding of where he is now is very strong. And I think that can certainly make him a little bit more calm in terms of feeling like he's not in a weak position at all. I think senses the possibility of Mutalisks, so is building a safety cannon. What he didn't have in game 1 was a safety cannon against drops, and I think that hurt him because at least it would have bought him some time to bring some units in to repel that initial pressure. It also would have forced the Overlords to drop a little bit further away. So we already see some adjustments in the game plan. The other reason why you drop this is so that the Scourge can't just fly in and check it and see everything that's happening in your main. So some nice adjustments that we can quite immediately see in Stork's approach to game 3 as opposed to game 1 that we had on Silphid. Alright, so the Scourge are here. I think Sacsri also adjusting, not going with a 3-hatch Hydra play, insisting on having some Scourge to repel the Corsairs because the Corsairs did considerable damage to him in game 1 and was probably the reason why Stork was able to take that one down. This time deciding he doesn't fancy that and also not letting the Scourge fly in too close. They've got the refuse of the cannon here and of course they've got the safety of the cannon here, although he doesn't have one in the mineral line as of yet, but perhaps we'll add that as we go along. More zealots! I think I should, if that's not the thumbnail, it's going to be the title of this game. More zealots! Because every time I look onto the minimap, Stork is moving zealots around. He does not stop moving zealots. Sacsri's playing at 500 APM. I mean, this is just crazy, man. There are some mutas here, though. Okay, so we are building mutas. I don't know if it's like a big commitment to mutas or if it's a snap making of a handful of mutas. It certainly is mutaling for the time being. The Sunken, though, popped. And it is 5 mutas that have come in here. His zealots are now stuck. So they're all going to die. And they're going to get a Sunken for their trouble. So I don't think the most valuable trade. Will he get a drone out of it? Doesn't look like it. So nicely tidied up. And another adjustment from Sacsri. Working some Mutalisks into his game plan. There are always zealots coming somewhere. So the Scourge are chasing away the Corsairs. But guess what? A very, very low health zealot has got into the main drone line. Got himself a drone kill for luck. And just constantly taxing the multitasking of Sacsri. It's going to tidy up that zealot. Have the Corsairs all gotten home safely? You bet they have. Maybe they took a hit from the Scourge. Difficult to say. This Overlord, though, is ripe for the plucking, as is this one. But potentially some more Scourge on the way. So drones and Overlords in the production tab from Sacsri. I don't see any Hydras as yet. Looks like he's going to go with a Muta Scourge approach. So we're seeing a Protoss versus Zerg, where the Zerg is bringing in Scourge and Mutas into the game. As an harassment technique, it is super useful, like flying in here and just picking off drones. You can't really, you can't really storm this because then you storm your own probe line, which is super painful. So the timing on this cannon is a little bit late, but to Stork's credit, he did realize that he does need it. So that certainly does slow down or reduce the possibilities of harassment. A couple of Scourge there. I think the animations were predominantly red though, and based on the health of these Corsairs, wasn't able to do much damage there. Unfortunately, the Corsair number now is actually getting really scary. These Mutas aren't really going to be able to do much to repel them. I expect a lot of dead Overlords here in the not distant future, but suddenly all the Scourge pop basically all at once. I think they got 2 Scourge there. That is so tilting if you Zerg. You spend all your gas on Scourge and you get like a Corsair for your luck. Get it, get it, get him, get him, get him, get him. Okay, so there's jukes around, but all the Corsairs are dead. Okay, so he did get a little bit of inverted commas justice for all that effort. So behind this, a third base coming up from our Protoss. None of the cannons have walked in as of yet, so the mutas could potentially do a lot of damage. What mobile anti-air does our Protoss have? Absolutely nothing, because all his Corsairs died. He's building an Archon, which is probably the only unit he's going to have as an answer to this. Sacsri's going really deeper here into mutas. That was a decent little storm, which does force him to dodge. And the cannon does eventually come up, so he does have to move his mutas. So it does look like he's going to be able to get this base up. It wasn't looking like that for a while. There are no cannons around the production line, and he's still just making zealots. More zealots. Where's your goons, man? The Archon, he is somebody you do not want to mess with, Mr. Muta. Run as fast as you can. No, don't. Oof. that was really close. Alright, so it looks like another move out. These two players, man, they just seem relentless. This is not an attractive place to come up. I wouldn't want to come here if I was a zealot. They are beautiful. 3 sunkens tucked behind 3 hatches. This is just a suicide mission. Suicide, run, run, run. No, no. Okay, so it decides better of that. Mutas flying about. Another Corsair has arrived. Does he not know how many mutas are on the map? Does he not care? Is he just the bravest Corsair in the world? Well, he's also now the deadest Corsair in the world. A couple more additional Scourge there. The Archons do come in and get a few passing shots on the mutas. This has been, I think, the funnest of the 3 games so far. We're not seeing Lurker drops. We're not seeing Hydras yet. Here come the first Hydras now in about 12 minutes. So it's been mutas against Zealots and Corsairs. And looks like he's going to get this cannon, which is very helpful because it kind of opens up the door. He's going to do a full pro pull here. That is so painful for Stork, who's finally added some Dragoons to his comp. But 1 Dragoon, it's not going to phase these mutas much. Brilliant micro from Sacsri. He is just so painfully persistent in this game so far. A nice little crop of Dragoons now coming in here with the Archon support. Should give him enough to repel the Singularity charge. Is not yet complete. So these are rangeless Dragoons. So not as useful as they're about to become. But I think that probably ends the muta play from Sacsri now. I think he's now, once he's built himself a few more Overlords, going to transition into a Hydra plan. And as we can see here, a lot of Hydras, adding some more hatches. So he's probably going to go Hydra Lurker. I reckon the muta harassment has certainly run its course. He is still trying, but Stork is just set up for this. My concern for Zerg is that Stork's 3rd is beautifully up and running and nicely established. Does Zerg have enough to walk across the map and kill him if he tries to take a 4th? Because once he takes a 4th, his econ power is going to be really, really strong. He's going to have plenty of macros. Upgrades are going to start getting really, really strong. What are they at the moment? Let's have a quick look. So at 1-1. So as soon as he becomes a 2-2 or a 3-3 Protoss with 4 bases, 5 bases, becomes very, very difficult for Zerg to stop. They're going to need Defilers. They're going to need Plague. They're going to need Hive Tech. They're going to need a lot of tools at their disposal to stop what becomes a very, very powerful Protoss army. 131 versus 119, though, you're still in a pretty happy position if you are Zerg. Depending, of course, on if you have the correct unit composition. Lurkers are going to be key here to stop all these Zealots. Because I think the Hydras on their own are going to potentially have some limitations. Only 2 High Templars with this army, though, so not exactly an abundance of Storm. And if Sacsri is sharp with his mutas, he could probably backpick these High Templars. There's just suddenly now 4. It was 2. You see, target down 1 High Templar. Targets down 2 High Templars. Targets down 3 High Templars. That is exactly what I said. That is brilliant play from Sacsri. Identifying it. I'm pretty sure there were 3 that he killed there. 1 more has eventually joined this army. So we had 5, which is usually the number when you're coached to play Protoss that you need when you move out onto the map versus Zerg. But 5 became 2 in an absolute jiffy with some masterful muta micro. Absolutely top class play from our Zerg. Still just 3 bases though. Of course, the big question is when and if Stork tries to move across the map to take his 4th. It's almost like they're listening to me as I'm speaking. It is insane. Okay, so there he goes. He establishes his 4th base. Behind him, moving around his army. That Hydra is going to be dead. That was a bad rally. And yeah, it's just a question now of where Stork chooses to move his army. Is he going to go here and try and pressure what is basically Fort Knox? Or is he going to try and potentially push this position? Because there's multiple points of entry, this is much more difficult for Zerg to protect. But therefore, that's naturally where you can expect most of Zerg's army to be. So you can see a nice spread of lurkers, plenty of units in the equation. And this is where he's going to be pressuring. But he's got such strong econ position now, throwing up some cannons here. Doesn't seem to be getting any pressure in spite of the fact that the Overlord can see that this is where the space is coming up. So here we go. A little bit of pressure here, picking up a few free Overlords. He's not going to go up that ramp, I don't think. I think these 2 drones have just, 2 Dragoons have just kind of missed the party with the rest. Hey guys, we're going this way, remember? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Pathing, baby, pathing. Pathing is painful. How many observers do you have with this army? Exactly 0. Really? Seriously? At 16 minutes we don't have an observer with our army? That's a bit of a surprise for a player of Stork's ability. Here he comes now. Okay, so we need more than 1 though. Sacsri's going to pilf your observer or pick him off, I can tell you now. We do these things and now the Lings have arrived. I don't see any Dark Swarm with this as of yet, but just pretty strong Lings could get thrown at this with only 4 cannons. We can see the armies moving across here to reinforce this position. I think 4 cannons is probably going to be enough against this many Lings, although they are kind of getting on top here. But plenty of Protoss reinforcements have come to tidy this up. But he knows now that that's where the pressure is going to be. Looks like Sacsri has drawn the Protoss army towards the space so that he can pressure this one. Some zealots have come through here. Probably just to block the establishment of this base. Unfortunately, though, they're going to get cut off on the way back, and he's going to lose quite a lot of zealots here in exchange for not much. There's no overlord supporting this. On the flip side, though, if we take a bird's eye view, Protoss' army, we can see, is moving from the west to the east, and is going to cut off the units that have come down here. So yes, while Stork's going to lose everything, potentially his armies, a lot of his armies moved out of position. So he could take the army here and try and press this base, or he could try and catch these units on the way back. It seems to be the former of those two options. So goes in here for the fight. It is mainly Dragoons against Lings. He's kept units here to tidy up the balance of these zealots, and I think he really does want to establish this position. The reinforcements from Stork are coming through here to fight this army. There's a lot of lurkers here, some decent storms. The filers are in the game now. That was a nice storm too, but nicely dodged and backed away. The challenge for Protoss, though, is that the reinforcements from Sacsri are always coming in from 2 angles, and goons fire in one direction and they fire really slowly. And this is a predominantly goon army that is going to make his life a little bit difficult. The zealots are moving on to the front line, but there are plenty of Zerglings to tank here. Dark Swarm as well, neutralizing the power of the Dragoons quite sufficiently. Suddenly it's 125 playing 125. I think Sacsri's moved into a really strong lead here. That was a beautiful storm, though, killing at least 5 Hydras. I think he's going to have to back away here. It does have all his bases, but I just don't think he has the unit comp or the power to take Zerg down, and that was very, very nicely handled. So in summary, Sacsri gets this base established, should have the power to establish this one as well. The attempts to block that base coming up from Stork were totally blocked off, and then he engaged with the main Zerg army here, and the trade was inefficient to the point where now Sacsri has moved into a supply lead. He's possibly just moving his army here in position to block the establishment of this base, and also just to check that it's not yet up. But I think Stork is starting to realize that Sacsri's macro power here is really, really strong. Sacsri, knowing and sniffing that he's in the lead, is probably going to seek out to knock down a base of the Protoss. This one doesn't really have much by way of money at it, so probably not the most valuable target, but it doesn't really matter. He's going to do it anyway. Up comes the Dark Swarm. Stork, knowing that he is not going to be able to stop that from happening, chooses a counter harassment play of his own. So he's going to try and take down potentially this base, which has 3 hatches at it, so a very, very valuable target. Of course, you don't worry as much about the minerals against Zerg. You worry about the hatches. How many hatches can I kill? Because hatches are the life power of our Zerg. Seems to just want to be going for the natural, which is an interesting choice, but all the tech is here, so I guess that does make some degree of sense. A lot of Dragoons here that can help support these zealots in targeting down the Sunkens. The units that were knocking down that base from Sacsri, though, have finished, and they're going to come back here. You can see the wave of red moving up the map, reinforcing. So Stork is getting a lot of damage here. He's probably going to be able to pick off a few valuable targets and a bit of tech, but the Lings, the Dark Swarm, the Lurkers, there's just so much Zerg coming back from this angle. So the Zealots do get in. They may target down the Spire, which is a potentially useful target. The Dragoons here, though, against Cracklings are just absolutely hopeless. They cannot do anything under the Dark Swarm. There's just so many reinforcing Lings. 115 plays 102. Sacsri has just been class here all game long. We're transferring some probes from... Okay, this base is gone anyway. We've re-established a new one here, and we're transferring some probes. So we are saturating a new base as Stork, which does give us a glimmer of hope. These Zealots, though, coming in here and being picked off by these remaining Lurkers is going to end that. The only target, or the only building that we lost that is of real use, is the Spire. We weren't really building any aerial units anyway. So that's going to be the end of that harassment. These corpses are Sunkens. No hatches died, and I think that is a critical piece of information. That push needed to knock down hatches and needed to reduce Zerg's production power. It has not. 128 plays 86. Our friend Sacsri, I'm afraid, is probably going to give Protoss, who I always cheer for because I am a Protoss main, is going to give him a hiding here. Well, not a hiding, but he's going to take this game down and end our series 2-1 in the favor of Zerg. That is my prediction. I just think, unfortunately, he's just too strong, and there is no ways that he's going to be able to make up ground. Couple of clutch moments in this game. Certainly picking off those High Templars with the Mutas was a huge moment. And just the early harassment with the Lings, killing the number of probes that was killed, also massive. And our Protoss was never able to kill a base or kill a hatch at any point in this game. And that is unfortunate. Taking up to Defilers when he did certainly did help Sacsri a lot. And any attempts to break any bases were certainly blocked off by having the tech edge. So a masterful play from Sacsri. I love how he plays Ling Lurker Defiler. He's probably one of the best at it. But like I said again, that mutalist play to knock down those High Templars, that was probably the key moment in the game, and something quite exceptional to see. So those cannons are depowered. This base is going to go down. Stork is not giving up. Typical Protoss. Got a lot of fight in him. Doesn't want to let him get it too easily. A couple of Archons are moving across the map here, though, under the Dark Swarm. It's not really going to matter against Archons whether you're under Dark Swarm or not, I wouldn't imagine. Another High Templar goes down. A bajillion more Lings coming in here. So the lifeblood that was the Protoss, which was this additional base, has now been quickly knocked down. I won't be surprised to see if this is the next target. Don't need to go into the main. Just send your units across here to take down the only other place where Stork is still mining. And then you wrap it up. Okay, so little drops coming in here now. Oh, man, the pull. But he still does get a few here. But the reactions from Sacsri, in spite of the fact that he's in such a great lead, incredibly elite play from such a good player. They're under the Dark Swarm. Here come the Lings. Cannons are going to fall. Yes, there are some Zealots that are supporting here, helping reinforce, which is always helpful. But I don't think he's going to have enough. It's just inevitable. There are heaps of Lings here, Lurkers. It's just Lurker Ling Defiler. Sacsri, in my opinion, is the best at exploiting this particular composition that plays Zerg that I've had a chance to watch a lot of. There are probably others that do it very well, but he is just incredibly strong at this particular style in this match. Doesn't use Hydras as much. Progresses to this composition very, very fast when he moves into mid to late game. So Stork goes across, realizes that he doesn't stand any more chances, does GG out of it. The game for some reason hasn't ended as of yet. Well, now he does leave the game. Sacsri's remained for a little while. I don't know if he missed the GG or just wanted to watch everything die. But anyway, that's the end of the series, guys. Really, really enjoyed bringing it to you. A 2-1 win to Sacsri. This is what we're doing here. We're bringing you a variety of top Korean players and their ladder journeys, playing each other. Sometimes if I can put them into compilations and series, I do. Sometimes if the game is just an absolute banger in its own right, like this one, then we combine them if the guys played each other on multiple days, or we bring them as standalone games if they were just long, beautiful macro matches. So a little bit of a combination of both today. So 2 shorts followed by quite a juicy decider. I hope you enjoyed it. Do subscribe if you would like to see more fantastic Brood War content. Until next time, I'm Rabbit Roo. Ciao for now.